What up, y'all? This is your boy Sherry Speaks, man. I know I'm a couple days late on this, but shout out to Complex and shout out to Tracy William Cohen for this article, man. Tory Lanez has been sentenced to 10 years in the Megan Thee Stallion shooting case. Now, back in December, a jury found Tory Lanez guilty in the 2020 shooting. It's crazy it happened in 2020 and it's now 2023. It's been crazy how things have actually gone by so quickly. He was initially facing a maximum sentence of more than 22 years. To be specific, I'll say 25 years to be exact. So anyway, in a statement on sentencing, Los Angeles County District Attorney George Gascon reflected on the 3 years that have passed since the initial shooting, reiterating some of his past comments about the, quote, bravery and vulnerability shown by Megan. He goes on to say, and I quote, over the past 3 years, Mr. Peterson has engaged in a pattern of conduct that was intended to intimidate Ms. Pete and silence her truths from being heard. Gascon said, women, especially black women, are afraid to report crimes like assault because they are too often not believed. I commend Megan Pete for her incredible bravery and vulnerability as she underwent months of probing investigation and court appearances where she had to relive her trauma and the public scrutiny that followed. This case highlighted the numerous ways that our society must do better for women. Thank you to Deputy District Attorneys Kathy Tay and Alex Bott and the Victim Services Representative Cecilia Zamora, who spent countless hours working to ensure justice was served for Ms. Pete. We also would like to thank the Los Angeles Police Department for their thorough investigation, end quote. Now, I'm happy that there has been some justice handed down, but I'll be honest with you guys. If he's receiving 10 years, give or take, he'll more than likely do about between 3.5 to 5 years, tops. Or even 4 years, if anything, on good behavior. So that's just what I think thus far. That's what I gathered from this whole situation, to be honest. So James Quayle of the LA Times wrote that Judge David Hereford's sentence for the 31-year-old Canadian includes 6 years for assault and 4 years on a gun sentencing enhancement. Quote, whatever the heck that means. I'm sorry, given the context, though, I'm going to presume and conclude in closing that gun enhancement, it's a gun sentencing enhancement to be exact, just informed in him just because he shouldn't have had a gun, I guess, because I know he had some looming gun troubles, you know what I'm saying, before. So I think that's just what that is. Him just tacking on what was already going, getting that Tory as it is. So preeminent court journalist Megan Kuniff tweeted after the verdict saying Lane's legal name, Daystar Peterson, spoke for, quote, several minutes. He said he still cares about Megan. He called her someone I still care for dearly to this day, regardless of what she may think of him. He said, the victim's my friend. He went on to say it once more. They talked about bonding with her over the loss of their mothers. And peace be upon to both their mothers, man. You know what I'm saying? We both lost our mothers. We would sit there and drink until we got numb. Tory Lanez said on Megan Thee Stallion. So after the shooting, he said, I said some very immature things that I shouldn't have said. I revealed some secrets I shouldn't have revealed. Okay. All right. TMZ added, of course, that the verdict elicited, quote, serious pain from Lanez's assembled loved ones as several members, including his dad and stepmom, shouted, this system stands before God. Some of his family members were even escorted out of the courtroom, end quote. So Judge Hereford acknowledged that it was difficult to reconcile the Lanez who shot Megan with the Associated Press writes, quote, the kind, charitable person and good father many people described Lanez as being during the sentencing hearing, end quote. So Jose Baez, a lawyer for Lanez, addressed reporters outside of the court on Tuesday. We're extremely disappointed that Tory did not get the sentence that we had certainly hoped for, he said, as seen in TMZ shared footage below. I think the sentence handed down was incredibly harsh. I have seen cases of vehicular homicide, and other cases where there's death and the person still gets less than 10 years, end quote. So Baez also argued the case was an example of someone being, quote, punished for their celebrity status, adding that they plan to appeal. Sentencing was expected to wrap up on Monday, but postponed to Tuesday during Monday's proceedings, notably. Kenneth, reported that Judge Hereford had received more than 70, quote, letters of support for Lanez, Among the letters was one from Azalea, who later spoke out about the letter being revealed, saying she, quote, never intended to publicly comment. Azalea also clarified the contents of the letter, noting that she does not, quote, support anyone, but was instead calling for a more rehabilitative sentence, in the case. Also, in the Monday's hearing, Deputy District Attorney Kathy Ta read a statement from Megan Thee Stallion. In the statement, per USA Today, quote, the 28-year-old said she, quote, could not bring myself to be in a room with Tory again after the shooting. She goes on to say, quote, since I was viciously shot by the defendant, I have not experienced a single day of peace. Slowly but surely, I'm healing and coming back, but I will never be the same, end quote. Tory Lanez was found guilty in the widely publicized case last December, with a jury convicting him on multiple charges, including assault with a semi-automatic firearm, which I think is the reason why Judge Hereford actually gave him that enhancement, so to speak, just simply because of that. In the statement at the time, Gascon, noted that Lanez was then facing a maximum sentence of more than 22 years behind bars, essentially 25 years. Is what they kept saying, and that's what I kept actually making videos on reporting on. They were going to give him 25 years, so that's what it was. And more of what I said before, and this was back in December. So anyway, while sentencing was initially slated for January, it was ultimately delayed. So in June, for example, Kniff, reported that sentencing in the case had been pushed back to early August. In May, Deputy Los Angeles County District Attorney Alexander Bott told reporters he was expecting Lanez to receive a sentence of at least 9 years due to the nature of the conviction against him. So I would say that anytime you point a gun at someone and pull the trigger 5 times, that's an action that could easily kill a person. That's what Bott said at the time. He went on to say, I think that's an action that deserves serious consequences, end quote. So, earlier this year, Megan Thee Stallion, she spoke out for the, quote, fight on time on the shooting in a piece for Elle in April. As told to Yvette Dion, Megan reflected on having, quote, truly survived the unimaginable over the last 3 years. She also shared a message for those in the industry who made light of the shooting or used it in their own work, saying these individuals tried to justify my attackers' actions, end quote. So days before Monday's sentencing, it was reported that Lanez's lawyers were arguing for probation in their client's case instead of time behind bars. And like I said, man, at the end of the day, I think 10 years is cool. Just simply put, because that's just on paper. And then also, I just think that that's actually the lightest that they can actually give him, I guess. Not to mention, because arguing petition for 9 years, okay, cool. But I'm like, 9, 10 years, as I said, that's light. And then that's the lights that they can actually go, essentially, for a case like that. I mean, that's really putting something light. But no, real talk, all BS aside, along with the seriousness that was implemented in the aforementioned sentiment. I think, like I said in the very beginning of the video, I think he's going to do about 3.5, maybe 5, 4.5 to 5 if on good behavior. Especially if they handed him down 10, if anything. So, let me know what y'all think in the comments below, man. This is your boy Shit Speaks, man. Deuces.